Let's talk about sex. Yeah, even with Parkinson's. Now, not exactly something you hear in the neurologist's office, right? But if you've noticed changes in desire or performance or physical comfort, you're definitely not alone. Erectile dysfunction, vaginal dryness, loss of desire, or just feeling disconnected from your body or your partner, well, these are real symptoms of Parkinson's. And they're not just aging, they're not just in your head, and they're not something to be ashamed of. So today, we're going there openly, honestly, and respectfully because connection, intimacy, and feeling wanted still matter, and they matter more now than ever.
Welcome to Living with Parkinson's. The good, the bad, and the reality. Real talk, real life, real community with Bryce Perry. Let's begin.
Well, welcome back to the channel. I'm so glad you're here. And if you're new here, my name is Bryce, and this is Living with Parkinson's, the good, the bad, and the reality. Now, this channel is about telling the truth about Parkinson's with no filters. We talk about the stuff that no one else is saying out loud because living with Parkinson's takes more than medication and exercise. It takes honesty, it takes community, and it takes support. Okay, today's episode is When Parkinson's Hits Below the Belt. Let's talk sexual health. So before we begin, I want you to take a deep breath. Okay? There's no shame here, just real talk that might finally make you feel seen. All right, let's start with something really simple. Sex is not just about sex, okay? It's about connection, it's about confidence, it's about feeling attractive, it's about feeling wanted even when the body is changing all the time. And Parkinson's messes with it all, doesn't it? And not because you're doing anything wrong, but because the disease doesn't stop at movement. It affects blood flow, it affects hormone levels, it affects muscles, nerves, energy, and mood. And yes, it affects relationships. Okay, so let's break it down. Men first. I don't know why men, but let's go with men first. Let's talk. Erectile dysfunction is extremely common in Parkinson's. You might notice a delayed response, difficulty staying erect, or even a loss of function. Now, it can show up early or it can show up much later. And it's not just physical. Stress, fatigue, medications, and self image all play a role. You know, there were times that I avoided intimacy altogether because I was worried it wouldn't work. I didn't want to disappoint, right? I felt it felt easier just not to try than to try and fail. But you know what's worse than feeling embarrassed? It's feeling alone. And I don't want you to feel that. Now, for women, well, women face different. They face different, but just as real challenges, and they often get less attention. Okay, things like vaginal dryness, pain during intercourse, a lowered libido, and changes in sensation or orgasm. Now, let's be honest, many women with Parkinson's are also caregivers, right? So they're managing meds, the house, appointments, and sometimes for others too. And by the time intimacy is even possible, they're exhausted, disconnected, and maybe even resentful. And that's real. And that's valid. And it deserves attention, not shame. Okay, now for everyone. Even if the mechanics are okay, sometimes the feelings aren't, right? You might feel less confident in your body. You might feel awkward about your tremors or your stiffness. You might be self-conscious about facial masking or nervous about freezing or dyskinesia mid-movement or mid-moment. Or just feel emotionally flat just because, you know what, your dopamine is tanked. And your partner might not know how to ask or how to help. But let me say this clearly. You are still worthy of connection. Your needs haven't disappeared. They've just changed, and that's okay. So the hardest part for me was bringing it up. So I want to give you a few ways to open the door. Here's one, right? You could say this. I've been feeling a little disconnected. Can we talk more, a little bit about intimacy and what it looks like now, right? Just some opening lines to get the conversation started. Here's another one. This disease has changed a lot for me, and I miss feeling close to you. Or maybe you could say, I'm worried about how Parkinson's is affecting us physically, and I want us to be okay. Now, listen, caregivers and partners, listen with compassion. Don't jump in with fixes. Just listen. Be present, because that's everything. And if it's too hard to say, then you know what I would suggest is bring it up at a doctor's appointment together. Don't go by yourself, because then you come home with a big list of here's what you need to do and here's what we need to do, and let's go in this together. Okay. Anyway, so what can help? Where are we at? What are we going to do? Well, there are options. There's a lot. There's a lot more than people realize. For vaginal dryness, and I say this, to be also check with your doctor always. There's also menopause can play some part in this as well. So just make sure you check with your doctor. So for vaginal dryness, you can use lubricants, right, regularly, not just in the moment. You can ask your doctor about estrogen creams. They seem to work really well, from what I hear. And there's pelvic floor therapy that can also help with the tightness or pain. For men and erectile dysfunction, meds like Viagra or Cialis may help, but only with your neurologist okay or your doctor's okay. And sometimes tweaking dopamine meds help too. So again, always a talk with the doctor. For everyone, some of the things that you can try to do is you can try new positions that don't strain your joints. Be creative. Use pillows or wedges for support if you have to. And another thing you could try, that actually is, I've heard it really helps a lot, is schedule your intimacy when your meds are working best, right? So when you're going to be at your peak performance, so that you don't have to worry about being embarrassed or not being able to perform, you schedule it, right? Here's a really good time for this to start. Okay. Last tip here is focus on touch and closeness and pleasure. It's not just about performance. It's really not about performance at all. Right? It's really about pleasure for you and your partner. So focus on that. Focus on touch, the closeness, eye contact, soft, just being close. Okay. And, if these are things that that are really, really, that you struggle with or you're dealing with, well, you know what? There's a lot of professionals who can help you. There are pelvic floor physio. Okay. Urologists or gynecologists that are familiar with Parkinson's are a big help. Sex therapists who specialize in chronic illness. Like, this is a thing. It's not just a you thing. It's a thing. And there are actual professionals out there that will help. And remember, really, I want you to listen, remember this. This isn't about fixing it, right? It's about staying connected, even if the connection looks different now. And I don't know, have you experienced changes in your sexual health since your diagnosis? Do you feel like no one's talking about it? Drop a comment below. And if you'd rather keep it private, then, I'd invite you to the inner circle, right? It's our real confidential, judgment-free community where you can chat and talk. It's not a Facebook group. It's not a Zoom call. It's a space where you can ask the hard questions, share your experiences, or just listen and feel seen. And you know what? Yes, these kind of conversations, they'll happen there too. Right? There's a link in the description below. You're invited. Take it. It's my invitation to you, because sometimes you got to go deeper on these things. And sometimes in a public forum is probably not the best place. In a confidential place where you're surrounded by people who get it, who have been there and are going through it, it's the easiest spot. So do yourself a favor. Check it out. Link in the description below. But here's something I want you to also remember this, okay? That Parkinson's, it doesn't erase desire, okay? It doesn't mean you stop needing affection or closeness, but it does make those things harder to talk about. So today, guess what? We talked. And if it felt awkward, that's okay. That means it's real. And real is where the healing starts. Do you know that Parkinson's doesn't kill your sex life? Silence does. There's a Bryceism for you. So keep speaking up and keep seeking connection. And as always, you keep doing life, and you keep doing it today.
Parkinson's may be part of your life, but it doesn't get to define it. Thanks for listening to Living with Parkinson's, the good, the bad, and the reality. If this episode moved you, helped you, or reminded you you're not alone, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Want to go deeper? The Inner Circle is waiting. Monthly Zoom calls, 24/7 community, and a direct line to Bryce. You'll find the link in the show notes. Until next time, keep showing up and keep doing life today.